The Court of Public Opinion is a part of the Amateur Radio Network. We have a really lively discussion about freedom of speech. It's a protected right in the United States U.S. Constitution here within the 50 states of our great republic. You can say things. There might be repercussions, and we're going to go there because I think it's worth talking about, and I think that some of you don't like Wendy Bell. Okay, so with that said, you not liking Wendy Bell might be more the issue because of what she said. Okay, I'm not going to disagree with you. We're going to go into what's on principle about what Wendy Bell said. Okay, did she say she was going to shoot anybody? No. Okay. Did she say something that would maybe cross the line? Possibly. Okay. But remember, I want you guys to remember freedom of speech. Okay. If you didn't have your protected rights, a Bill of Rights in Constitution, you probably wouldn't be able to work or eat or do anything. There would be violations like, hey, you're not allowed to eat that way because it's offensive. You know, we're talking about political correctness, okay? It's not politically correct to say what she said, okay? But that's not the Constitution. The political correctness is not the law, okay? What is allowed would be within the parameters of the Constitution, not within what the people say necessarily, what's within the Constitution, because even conservatives might say, well, you know, she said some things and there's a consequence. That's not happening, though. Most people who are anti-gun don't like the far right because the far right leans more towards pro-God, pro-gun, pro-family, pro-that. Let me give you the opposite, though, and I think it's fair to say that the other side of this is that when your family is deteriorating and your husband is on meth and everything's either been stolen, garbage because you have been evicted, the pro-family activists that like care about the issues on like pro-life, we still haven't seen the pendulum swing our direction at all. I mean, we've seen little inches getting closer to something, but nothing quite to change the direction of Roe v. Wade. Okay, that doesn't mean that you stop trying, though. With what I'm trying to say, let me get back to the point. Okay, and somebody could be doing something in good faith and it would be offensive to somebody, okay? Freedom of speech is direct. It states in the Constitution, and I'm going to get the book out, maybe not this moment because I don't have it in front of me. I would ask you, though, to read this book. It's called Saving the Constitution by Richard Proctor, Ph.D., and you can go to the Provost Institute to find out more. The Court of Public Opinion is about the Constitution because, see, your constitutional rights might be violated. I do not believe the political correctness this is where political correctness meets the Constitution, because there are people that disagree with Wendy Bell because they are not gun owners or they don't want that type of stuff in their home. I grew up the same way, so that you know, I'm not advocating that what she said was wrong or right. I'm saying that growing up in Pittsburgh, if you were to carry a gun and walk down the street and, you know, just start shooting people, that would be what we saw over there in Squirrel Hill, okay? There's a lot of focus on trying to remove the Second Amendment, and there have been lobbyists who don't want people carrying guns. But the thing is, guns end up in the hands of criminals. So it's not going to benefit anyone to take gun rights away from law-abiding citizens. And what she was saying, and I want to get back to what we were started because we're going to be ending this segment. I want to finish it with this. You might not agree, you might not like Wendy Bell, you might not listen to her radio show, and some of you probably didn't ever listen to her at all up until she got fired. The point is that most of us, I haven't because I'm out of the area. I can't get that signal. What I want you to remember that your freedom of speech is a protected right under the U.S. Constitution. This is not Nazi Germany. This is not the Fourth Reich or the Third Reich. And if the day ever comes that you couldn't speak freely, you wouldn't be able to keep a job. You wouldn't be able to keep a radio job, much less. Those are the kind of things that I'm thinking about when I think about freedom of speech. Those are protected rights. Like, listen, hey, those people in downtown Pittsburgh, they went up there and they were expressing their freedom of rights, their freedom of speech, and their, quote, peaceful protest. But you know what? It was shocking and it was disturbing. And I think that's what's going on, is more of how disturbing it is that somebody disturbs the peace. Now, I want to say this to add to the end of this segment. I said a lot of things about offensive behavior, political correctness, and that's what the bottom line is. A lot of listeners here, if you are more lean PC and you're more apt to say, hey, this doesn't fall in line with my values, well then that's appropriate. You don't have to agree with what Wendy Bell said. So, you know, I'm just saying, keep in mind this is about freedom of speech. And can you get fired over your freedom of speech, which is a protected right under the U.S. Constitution? And there is laws that state, it's called constructive discharge, that you can get fired, but there's consequences and there's all kinds of other stuff that goes in it. But it's called constructive discharge. She can go to the EEOC and tell her side of the story. So you only heard one side of the story, and it was dragging out. And I thought, well, this discussion just got a little bit bigger than I was hoping. I want to end it here. You can lean more PC. I didn't say that political correctness is the issue per se, but I'm going to tell you that's what it comes down to. It comes down to protected freedom of speech, your freedom to speak freely without fear or threat of losing your job or your family or your home. Not drugs, like in some cases. The Court of Public Opinion is a part of the Amateur Radio Network.